right. So, yeah, so it seems like everybody kind of has the Teams thing down. So again, just one more time, we'll just ask everybody to have their microphones muted, just to minimize any background noise so it doesn't compete with what Chef's trying to share. And I think that's it. You can raise and lower your hand if you want to get fancy. There's a reactions button. You can raise your hand. I can demonstrate that here for a second. And that'll let us know you got a question you want to ask or something you want to share. Just make sure you click it a second time, and that will lower the hand down so that we don't keep calling on you. And then, of course, that chat feature there coming in. So great that everybody's warming up their fingers. Welcome, Cheryl, to the class. Hi. So we're just going over some of that housekeeping stuff. And what do you think, Allison? Ready to jump in? You think everybody's got it down?
Yes, because
I
think that exactly everyone's going to get hungry, and we got some recipes to share.
We got some things to do. All right, so welcome to the culinary medicine class, you guys. And then Allison, I guess you're going to have to forward the slides because I don't think I
think you can try. See what happens if you do.
Oh, it's grayed out.
No, okay. All right, here, I'll do it. Well, that's me.
You have to be my driver.
I love it. You won. I love it. Now I feel part of it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here are the folks on the call today, you guys. So we've got our amazing Chef Alyssa. She's been a personal chef for over 25 years. She's great with flavors and nutrition and just a wealth of knowledge and information and just passion for cooking that she's sharing with us. So we're really happy to have her here. We have Allison, who's a wellness coach and health education coordinator on the Big Island. So there she is with her background of avocados. Saying hi. And you're muted, just so you know. Okay, if you were saying something. And then we have myself, and so I'll pop on camera here. So hi everybody, my name's Heather Charles, there we go. And I'm the health education coordinator for the island of Maui. And so together we are here to navigate you on this pathway forward to plant-based cooking. And on the screen here, you can see this quote, right? Eat food, not too much, and mostly plants. And this quote was taken from Michael Pollan. He's an American author and a journalist. He's written lots of books about food and health. And that's really what this program is all about. Eat food, not too much, and mostly plants, and trying to figure out where do we start and how do we make this fun, hopefully, in the process. Now, Michael Pollan is also part of a video series that Stanford put together back in 2016. And it's a series of 17 videos that range in length from 3 to 5 minutes. And they give you really practical skills and information on how and why we want to make sure and eat healthier. So we're going to share one of these videos with you here in class today to just inspire you. And we encourage you to check out the rest of them on YouTube. So we're going to put the link to access those videos in the chat now. And then we're going to put one on. Oh, I got it here, Allison. I can put it in. Perfect. I'll put the chat in. And then Allison, if you don't mind, we'll put up the video. We'll just kind of all watch this together. And then we'll check back with each other. It's about 3 minutes.
All right, hang on. Give me 1 sec because I always forget to do my little, make sure you can hear it. The sound, very, very key. Okay, Heather, I'm going to make it big and you're going to tell me if you guys can hear it. Ready?
I see it.
Many people who are concerned about our modern food environment find themselves in search of simple rules. This is why so many fad diets gain a following even when there's very little science behind them. People want easy-to-follow dietary advice, but the human diet is inherently complex. Having said that, there are simple ways of wording sound dietary advice. Here's one of the best examples.
Michael, you use a simple framework for delivering a lot of your advice on how to approach one's relationship with food, and what comes to mind is your kind of mantra. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants.
Yeah. Well, you know, coming up with those 7 words, which I'm afraid will be on my gravestone unless I come up with something better soon, is the result of a very long process of examining the science of nutrition. But as I got deeper and deeper and deeper, I realized, well, actually, the key issue is, are you eating real food, or what I like to call edible food-like substances, which is to say processed foods. And so the phrase eat food, I realized that's really what you need to know to eat.
I'm going to stop for 1 second and make it. See what happens.
Looks a little wonky.
I don't know why it did that. It was fine before, but let's try it.
It's looking blue.
It's looking blue. We want it to look beautiful. Hang on. Let me see.
Food.
I don't know why.
But then I realized that is.
Let's see if it's.
I have it too if you want to change it.
It was perfect. I don't know, maybe. Here, let's just see if it's. If I can. There we go.
I'm a teacher just like you.
It just
I
takes a second. Yeah, I think it's the.
And if you're
Maybe
anything
I'll have
like
you
me,
do it.
you've wasted your playtime trying to find a video
Let's
for
see
one
if
of
it
your
works.
lessons.
One more time. Yeah.
Many people
If you guys don't mind it, but it's
who are concerned about our modern food environment find themselves in.
Yeah. Okay. Let me take this down and stop sharing. Sorry about that. It was working a moment ago.
This is why it's good to have options.
All right, you go, Heather.
Okay, you see it here?
Yes, there we go. We want it beautiful and clear.
Let me disconnect my other thing so the sound comes through.
We're good. It's like a.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's give it a try. Thanks, Heather.
Yep.
Many people who are concerned about our modern food
there we
environment
go.
find themselves in search of
a little quiet, but good. You're all
This is why
unplugged.
so many fad diets gain a following, even when there's very little science behind them. People want easy-to-follow dietary advice, but the human diet is inherently complex. Having said that, there are simple ways of wording sound dietary advice. Here's one of the best examples.
Michael, you use a simple framework for delivering a lot of your advice on how to approach one's relationship with food, and what comes to mind is your kind of mantra: eat food, not too much, mostly plants.
Well, coming up with those 7 words, which I'm afraid will be on my gravestone unless I come up with something better soon, is the result of a very long process of examining science of nutrition. But as I got deeper and deeper and deeper, I realized, well, actually, the key issue is, are you eating real food, or what I like to call edible food-like substances, which is to say processed foods. And so the phrase "eat food," I realized that's really what you need to know to eat well. Eat food, by which I mean real food. But then I realized that isn't quite enough, because we're also eating too many calories. So not too much became part of the mantra. And then lastly, I was like, well, within the range of foods, is there a class that's better than another class? And one of the things we know is that people who eat lots of plant foods tend to have much better health and better longevity than people who eat a heavy meat diet. So mostly plants. Not all plants. Mostly is, I'm trying to be very reasonable, and although it tends to offend both vegetarians and carnivores when you say mostly plants. So eat food, not too much, mostly plants, is basically, I think, all you need to know. Now, eat food is probably the hardest part of that to understand, because isn't all that stuff in the supermarket food? Well, I would argue it's not, and I would argue a lot of it are relatively new, highly processed, edible food-like substances that really are what gets most people into trouble around eating. They tend to have lots of refined sugars, lots of refined fats, and very little fiber, very little of the antioxidants you find in plants. And basically, they were designed for long shelf life, these processed foods. And the way you make a food last longer is you take out what is nutritionally valuable. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, I'm talking about fiber, all these things don't store well. So we've gone down a path of eating a lot of things that shouldn't be dignified with that beautiful word, food.
Replacing the highly processed food in our diets with reasonable amounts of real food, including plenty of plant-based foods, is sound advice for people who want to protect their health. And Pauline's mantra, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. These 7 words can be a helpful guide for anyone who wants to keep it simple when it comes to choosing food.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna put back up the PowerPoint for you, Heather, and then we're gonna start cooking. How's that sound? Go over our recipe, and let me get it back there for you. All right. There you go.
Yeah, we can actually go to the next one. There you go. So I hope that was inspirational, you guys. And again, the link to access the whole series of videos, which we encourage you to check out, is in the chat there. Also want to just take a brief moment to touch on the handouts that were included in your class link, specifically the healthy plate. So, you know, this is just the dietary shift that we're working to make, and you can notice it's divided in these 3 parts. So we want half our plate to be vegetables, a fourth of it's focused on protein, which can be plant-based protein, and then the other fourth of it is with a whole grain. So this is what we want to start to work our plates towards, and we want to have it be colorful. This looks really vibrant. It looks really inviting, so that we're not just counting calories, we're going to count the plants instead. And if you want to learn more about the healthy plate in particular, we do have a wonderful class taught by our dietitians at Kaiser Permanente called Get Your Plate in Shape, and you can register for that on kp.org under the appointments tab, and it will show you a lot of different variations of what a meal might look like in that format. So with that, let's go to the next slide, Allison. Okay, we're gonna just review the recipes that Chef Alyssa is gonna be preparing today, which is one of my favorites, Asian style tofu. I use this marinade all the time. It is so yummy and tasty, so I'm sure she's excited to be sharing this with you. So Chef Alyssa, do you wanna review the ingredients together with the group?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a nice, simple recipe. Hopefully you'll have these ingredients in your kitchen, your cupboard. Very easy to make, and I'll show you. But what we're going to start out is we're going to mix some sesame oil, some toasted sesame oil, with some shoyu or Bragg's, and then rice vinegar. And your sweetener can be maple syrup, honey, or agave.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to ask, I know it's very tempting there's a place that says take control, but when someone takes control, we lose it and then we lose our place. So I'm just going to let you guys know that I forgot to mention. There we go. Thanks. Sorry to interrupt. Go, Chef, go.
No problem. So then, yeah, and then one of the ingredients you can add is some sort of a hot sauce. You could use fresh chili peppers. I tend to use, in the recipe, it calls for sambal, which is that Thai chili paste that you can get at restaurants, you know, the red one that they have next to the chopped peanuts if you ever go out to eat Thai food. I used to work at KO's Thai Cuisine, so it's kind of was one of my duties, was the chili paste. A pinch of garlic powder and onion powder, which you can get in the in markets that sell bulk spices. And then we have salt, and then we're just going to mix that together and marinate and cook tofu with it. And yeah, you can do all kinds of things. And then we're going to make a stir fry sauce with it too.
Okay, do you want me to go to the next one too to go through, or do you anything we want to add on this one?
Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we have our musubi. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take the sauce, and we're going to take our cooked tofu from the sauce, and we're going to use that in, like, instead of our, you know, where you would use Spam and a musubi. So you'd have a, you know, your little piece of tofu, which I'll show you how to do. We've got sliced avocado. We have cooked brown rice, and then we add some furikake, and then we, with our nori, and then we have our mold, and we're going to make some musubis. So it's just a variation, yeah, of the Spam musubi.
What do you think, Heather? Should I take this screen down and have chefs?
Yeah, I think let's get cooking. People were really excited about this, you know, musubi part of it, especially, right? It's such a favorite.
Yeah,
and make it in a healthy way. So
I'm hoping everyone, there we go, perfect.
And feel free, you guys, again, to chat in if you have questions as Chef goes along. Allison and I will be monitoring, and we'll be happy to pitch in and share your question.
Okay, so we'll start off with tofu, and you know, you can buy any kind of a firm, fresh tofu. I wouldn't go softer than firm. I mean, you could do medium firm, but you might want to press it to get the excess liquid out. What I have here today is House Foods extra firm tofu, and this one is really great because if you can find it. You really don't have to do much with it. So I'm going to take it out of the package. I've already drained it. And I'm going to show you how I cut it. I'm going to put my cutting board over my cooking area. Is that me making that, or?
Oh, I can double check.
Okay.
It looks perfect.
It's Lori. Hi, Lori.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Lori, when you get a chance, if you don't mind, I don't know if you're on mute, or if you can mute, and then if you don't mind turning your camera off, that way we can have the full screen for Chef. I know it might be hard to find it. Thank you.
There she goes. Okay. So when I do this, buy this, and I buy all kinds of tofu, but house brand is easy to find. The extra firm is nice. We can talk a little bit more about tofus, but later, if we've got some time, how do you store tofu? Certain brands will need to be changed, the water changed daily, or they can go sour easily. So there's different things we do to keep it fresh. This tofu, though, is great. This house brand where it doesn't go sour fast. And like I said, it's nice and firm. So you can see I can pick it up and it's not like too bendy. Get an idea of what I'm talking about if you worked with tofu before. Okay, so what I generally do is I cut it in half. And then I cut each half in half. This is kind of my little and then I cut that in half. You can either, cut it in half. And then you have like 8 equal slices. So then again, I've got my other half. If this helps at all, just if you sometimes it's easier to have them all the same size, especially if you're doing something like a musubi. And then if you wanted to, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say it does help. Not all of us are mathematical, so that's perfect.
Half. And then if you wanted to, like we're going to do the stir fry, so I'll save these ones for the musubi. Then if you wanted to do, again, for cubes, you could do half, right? You uprighted it, half, half, half. I don't know, this may sound silly, but at least it's a way to get some equal kind of pieces. So that's just what I do. And I'm going to there is, okay. All right, so then I've got my tofu cut and I'm going to move on to making my marinade. So I'll put that, maybe I should, let's see, can I do that? Okay, I'm putting this on my cast iron skillet, so hopefully it's not going to topple. All right, so what I tend to do is I just put everything in a jar. I'm a big jar saver. So if I got like a good jelly jar that, I like to shake, take the label off, I've got jars. They're great for salad dressing, marinades. I cook for people, so a lot of times this is great for transiting a salad dressing away from the house. Okay, so I have rice vinegar. Bottom line, you just kind of put everything together. I've got toasted sesame oil. If you aren't familiar with toasted versus regular sesame oil, the toasted has a deeper flavor. I have some sambal here, the chili paste. Okay, I'm just going to use my little whisk. And today I chose agave, but really all 3 flavors are really nice in this marinade. We got our agave. And then I used, today I have Bragg's. So I'm putting Bragg's liquid aminos, which is like a kind of a low sodium shoyu substitute. You can do tamari or shoyu. And then I'm just going to whisk this all together. If you know that the lid is, we got the powders. If you know the lid is secure, you can shake it, like it's not going to go flying. So I have onion powder and I have garlic powder. Oh, and this is perfect. Good way to explain this. Look at this. It's already rock hard. So that's a big challenge with onion powder and garlic powder is they can tend to get clumpy really fast if there's a lot of moisture in the air. That's the onion. So I'm going to put the garlic in. And then what I'm going to do is, yeah, I got these at Kukua Market. So what I tend to do is I will, because they do that, I mean, I've just had this out for half an hour and they're already clumping. Hold on. I've tried the refrigeration way of doing it, you know, putting it in the fridge. I've tried Ziplocs. I've tried like spice jars, and I tend to find that these Ziplocs work the best. Just tie this and then put this in a Ziploc just to try and keep the moisture out. But it is a good
I keep
challenge.
mine in the fridge too, and it works
You do?
well.
Okay.
Yeah, in the container.
Yeah, and I tend to not buy a lot because invariably by the time I get to it, I'm like, darn, you know, it happened again. So I just don't invest a lot of money in my onion and garlic powder. Okay, so we're going to whisk that all in, add a little salt. I have a little Himalayan salt.
Can I ask you a question on, you know, with the salts, Himalayan salt? I got that too because it was in a recipe. If you don't have that, is like kosher salt something similar? Is there a flavor in it that you like? And do you mind sharing on that? Or anything you think?
Yeah, no, I don't know that much about the salts other than, you know, when I was working at KCC in the non-credit program, culinary program, of course, all the chefs and the, you know, the teachers there were big on kosher salt. I tend to go with real salt and Himalayan salt because I feel like they have some sort of more minerals in them. I definitely, I can't get into table salt. Sea salt's fine, but yeah, I definitely have learned the flavors are different. I don't think that they really matter in the baking as far as like the real salt and the Himalayan salt. I have those salt flakes too, where you can put things like Malden salt you can put on top. I like salt.
Great. Thank you. That's great. It's helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know if that helped, but
it did.
Yeah. It's fun. Salts are fun. Okay. So I've got my my marinade made. I've got my tofu cut. I'm going to turn my, I have a cast iron skillet because it works with this induction heater. I'm going to put it up to, again, it's always a learning process because this is not my regular cook surface. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little bit of light oil. And today, right now, I have high oleic, like sunflower oil, organic sunflower oil, avocado oil. Some people use canola. Anything that can take high heat. It could be refined coconut or regular coconut, safflower. Those are some options. So I'm just, even though this is basically seasoned, I use it all the time. I'm just giving a thin layer of oil. I'm going to put my tofu on. These could actually be a little thinner too. You could do it, but I was just trying to show you a nice, easy way to cut it. So one of the things I think this has come up before with Heather and Allison is like the if it gets a high heat and you have it sitting on the marinade, it can burn a little bit, so you kind of can watch it. But I'm just going to, you can actually have it cook in the sauce, or I often just do this. What I'm doing is I'm just layering it on one side, turning it, and I'll put a layer of sauce, and then the tofu can absorb all that wonderful combination of flavors. And then I'm going to put since I've got this surface area available, I'm going to put some of these little cubes over here. So there's one little trick that I do with tofu. I really like tofu. I really am a big tofu fan. So one of the things I do, so let me get it all on here and then I can show you. Okay, I'm going to give these puppies a little bit of sauce. Again, you don't have to go to this much effort. It's just kind of what I do. You can just pour it over. So one of the things I do, and because I've got a lot of this going, is I actually will turn it off. I'll turn it off and I'll lift it off. Like right now, I'll probably, hold on, I've got a hot pad. Can lift it off and set it aside. Sorry, let me put my little cubes over here. Okay.
Safety first. You do whatever you need.
So what I'm trying to show you, and I'm going to talk it through a little bit while I'm waiting for this to cool, is when you take tofu, like the pan off the heat, or you just let it sit, turn the burner off and let it sit for like 5 minutes, the moisture in the tofu will actually lift the tofu off the bottom of the pan. And then you don't lose that crusty surface that has developed, which is what makes it kind of yummy, right? You've got the marinade and the crust. So this one, I can kind of feel it going. And then you can turn it and continue on. But, so often, I see people who are working with tofu and they want to just turn it and it's resisting. So I just turned the ones that gave me a little bit of, hold on one second. Sorry. If it resists, then sometimes you just scrape off that layer, right? And it kind of takes away the crispy layer. A lot of times I'll use chopsticks to turn like these guys over if I'm doing small ones. Or the other thing you can do is actually take the slabs, cook them, and then cut them into the cubes after. Sometimes people just don't want to fuss with the amount of how much I fuss with my tofu. It's all about patience and time and how much you care about the end product. I'm just showing you some tips.
Now, Chef, this recipe is unique because you don't have to marinate the tofu ahead of time, right? You just put it right on. So that saves time too.
Right. Yeah. You can actually marinate it ahead of time. And that does not hurt at all. You just want to make sure that you're, sorry, it's beeping, but I can smell that it's starting to stick. If you marinate it, just make sure it's well drained so that the marinade doesn't get like excess water in it, and then it kind of takes away the purpose of, as the tofu relaxes, the water comes out, it dilutes the marinade, and then it kind of takes away the point of having the marinade. Yeah? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, so if you get the water out, then it's got more room to put the marinade in.
There you go. There you go. Thank you. Okay. I had my spoon. Where did that little one go? Okay. Oh, it's in the jar. Okay. So I just turned it a couple times. I just put the sauce on, and this is a really great sauce for doubling because it lasts a long time in the fridge.
Yep. I started doing that now. I love this sauce, you guys. And so, yeah, double it, and then I might just cook a batch and then save some for the next time.
Right.
Works well.
Right. Yeah, and you can do all kinds of stuff with it. So, okay, so we're just going to saute it a little bit more. And one of the other things I've been starting to do, if I'm serving the food right away, which a lot of times I'm not. And so I have to think about that because my style of cooking is I'm making food and then delivering it and not sure when whoever I'm delivering it to is going to eat the food. So if I know that the food is going to be eaten right away, one little fun trick to making crispy tofu is you can toss it with a little bit of cornstarch. So if it's, you have your like cubes and you put it in a bowl, you can pour over a little cornstarch and maybe some salt, and you can toss it, and then you can either bake it or pan fry it or put it on parchment paper, and it will make the tofu get crispy, which is kind of fun. It adds another dimension to it. But if you're not going to eat it right away, that can kind of sog out. Okay, so this guy's getting a little crispy, yeah? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this off and continue on because I don't want you to have to be watching me do this tofu. It's probably going to take about 5 more minutes. I'm just going to take this off, excuse me.
So as you're talking, we got a question, Chef,
Yes.
just asking if they're trying to eliminate sugar, can stevia be substituted for agave or
Yes.
maple syrup? Yes, for the sauce.
Yes, I do I do stevia myself. So I mean I have. So yes, based on if you know your stevia, you know, if you use it on a regular basis, just kind of know how much to add because each brand is so different. Stevia. I don't know how many people use stevia, but wow, they are all like night and day.
Have another question for you too.
Yes.
Baking option instead of frying. Do you ever bake it?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And baking works out great, especially then you don't have to put so much energy and attention into it as I'm doing right now.
And Heather, you might be able to answer that last one since you're the air fryer queen.
Yes, you can put things in the air fryer. I still haven't perfected it quite to like the temperature and the time, but absolutely you can put it in the air fryer. And then Lisa had a good question too. The cornstarch tip that you mentioned, is that like you're taking this the tofu you've just prepared and you're putting it on there, or that's like a separate way to prepare tofu? Like you take raw tofu and put the cornstarch on it and then you bake it.
Right. The way I've been doing it is I make sure that it's nice and dry, and then in the pan, you can like put the cubes in like a big bowl, okay, a big bowl, and you can put salt, you can put like turmeric or curry powder, you know, pepper, whatever, you know, dry spices you want, and the cornstarch, and you toss it like that. And then you can put it on parchment paper and bake it off.
Okay, so that would be separate from this recipe. Yes. Okay, that's what we want to make sure.
It's just I'm sorry, it was just an aside.
Another preparation
that you could do. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, no, it's good.
Thank you. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do the musubi next. We're going to use one of these pieces. I've got a couple that are nice and crispy. And then we'll go ahead and we'll work on the stir fry. Did that kind of answer your question? I mean, as far as like, was I clear on how to stir fry this? Okay. I often use this skillet when I'm cooking my tofu. I'm finding, again, my challenge for using this induction burner on this cooking area, you know, in my place, is it gets really hot really fast. So that's just my challenge here with the cast iron skillet. So it's, you know, I do this all the time on my stovetop, but this one runs really hot really fast. So that's just where I'm at, you know, with the challenge of my demo. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off, and I'm just going to put the, what would be the best way to do it? I think I will put a cutting board on top of here. It's not that bad. Yes. Okay, well, let's see. We'll see what happens. Oh, okay. Make sure I do this. Okay. Okay. So I have a musubi mold, right? And what I did was I got some seaweed. You know, you can buy the package of seaweed in the grocery store in the Asian section of Safeway, Foodland Times. It's pretty prevalent. Marukai, Nigeria, wherever. I know that that's not necessarily in Maui and Big Island, but just giving some tips. And what I did was I crisped it. So I had this burner on. That's what, if you saw me doing that with the cast iron skillet before when the class was starting, because I knew this was going to get wet. So I figured, oh, I'll just crisp one up before the class. So I tend to just cut it in half. And I know that there is, and please, I'm open to whoever has more knowledge, because I did not grow up making musubis. I make musubis, but it's not in my family upbringing. So I believe the shiny side goes down. And I'm putting the musubi mold on the end of the strip. I've cooked up brown rice, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about this too. So I'm just going to put some brown rice in. And I'm going to show you what I use for my brown rice, because I do this combination, and what it makes the rice a little more sticky. And what I do is, just to show you, see if I can get in the camera. If I go up, is that okay? Can you folks see?
It looks perfect. Looks great.
Okay. So this is short grain brown rice. And this is sweet mochi brown rice. So I'm sure you folks, most local people know about mochi rice, the white mochi rice, but this is actually called sweet brown mochi rice. And you can find it in various stores. I find it locally at like any of the Kukua, Down to Earth, those kind of markets. Some stores like Nigeria would have, and there's a place called the Rice Factory here locally, kind of by the Kaka'aka Whole Foods. What this does is like mochi rice, yeah, it makes it a little more sticky. So when I cook rice at home, because sometimes I'll cook up like a small pot of rice and I'll eat it for 2 or 3 days. And I'll do 1/4 of the mochi rice to 3/4 of the brown. And then that just gives it a little more stickiness. But, you know, brown rice is a little sticky anyways, but I'm just telling you, if for any reason you want to do this, this is my little brown rice trick. So I've got my brown rice in here, and then I'm going to take my avocado, which I have sliced. So I slice my avocado 1, 2, 3, 4. What I tend to do when I slice my avocado, then I do a spoon. Depending upon the avocado and its skin, some of them still have kind of nubby stuff or gritty stuff on the inside. But this one's a really nice one, so it just comes right off. And you see it's nice and clean. I always check it out on the underside to see if there's anything black or any bruises or anything. I'm gonna make that a little thinner, and then I just put some avocado in to fit. You can kind of play with that. And then I do furikake. I found this nice one and I'm not trying to promote anything. It's just what I find around town. But Foodland has this organic ume furikake. So I love ume vinegar. So this is ume. The other one I like to use on a regular basis is this Mishima.
Can you turn it the other way? There you go. Right, the other one too, okay. And then down a little bit towards the tofu. Perfect, just like that.
So these are just two variations. There's all kinds out there, but these are two that I like to use on a regular basis. I also avoid bonito, so these two don't have, these are like vegan options. And then we're going to take our cooked tofu. We're going to put that guy there.
And we have a question while you're kind of putting that there. Is the rice warm and fresh? Can you use cold rice from the fridge?
Well, I think if your rice is sticky enough, you could. My whole thing is the rice gonna be all dry and grainy and fall apart, right? You know, because sometimes I cook brown rice, and if it's been cold in the fridge, sometimes it falls apart. I think you just have to kind of assess where it's at, how long you've had it, and hopefully that answers your question. Anything else?
No, that's great.
Okay, so then I'm going to use the top and push it through. This is the part where I kind of pray. Please. And then you're going to, we used to do this, you know, I used to work at Kukua Market. It's a little co-op downtown in the university area. So you're going to roll it over, and then you're going to take a little bit of water, and then you're just going to put water on and seal it. And then if you're doing a little grab and go, you can put it in some plastic wrap it tight. I usually kind of roll it and do a little wedge like that. Just roll it back and forth, and then you can cut it in half.
That looks so great. It's amazing. You make it, you know, you get so scared to try things, and that just looks gorgeous.
Yeah. So anyways, this is, and then you can do it again and again and again. It just kind of shows you. So it's rice. You can put less rice if you want. Your tofu, furikake, and avocado. Okay.
Perfect. It looks great.
Okay. Did you, I mean,
no, that's fabulous.
Any questions, you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's all be making this for snacks or something to grab and go, like she said this week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they come up. Just going to let you know, Chef, giving you about a 15-minute check-in.
So we'll move on to the stir fry.
Wow, that was gorgeous. Yeah, and that really, you made it look easy. Like not, I mean, of course you're the chef, but you made it look doable. It didn't look fearful. That's so pretty.
Yeah. And I mean, I could do one more if that helps, but I mean, it's basically you put it on the edge of the nori, you make the nori crisp, you cut it in half, you roll it, you press it through, and then you wet it and press it down. And then you're just going to want to wrap it or put it in Tupperware. You're just going to want to make sure that it's not going to dry out or get soggy, or, you know, or you just eat it.
Chef, someone was asking if you can show the furikake again, where the one that's not the ume one, and where you buy it.
The Mishima, this one. Does that help?
Yes, that's it. And that's where you bought it?
Where did you buy it?
I tend to find this one at Times, Supermarket, Foodland, Daiei, probably Marukai. I don't go to Marukai that much. Probably Nijiya too. I don't know if Nijiya would have. Maybe.
Although I think you got all the islands there, so that's good.
Okay, good. But Times is generally where I look for this one. And it goes on sale. So I will buy a couple and just store them in the fridge, just because sesame seeds can go rancid. Yeah. So, and I don't eat a lot. So I tend to put all my seeds and nuts in the fridge. Okay. All right. So any other questions, or should I move to the stir fry?
I think we're just having some discussion about it, but I think it's good to go on to the stir fry. We did have a comment. It says nori, not furikake, but it is just, you can
Nori,
look and
not for, oh, the nori. You want me to ask?
No, I think it was just looking at the name, but don't worry, go right on. I think the key also with furikake is finding one you like and kind of finding the taste you like.
Oh yeah, this one's called nori kumi furikake. Yes, and for sure. Again, I don't have as wide of a range just because I don't eat bonito. but there's a lot of fun. It's those ones with the little crunchy balls in them. Those are kind of cool. Um, so yeah, have fun. But those are my two favorites. So taking the marinade one step further, and again, talk about arrowroot or cornstarch, which you can use interchangeably. You can add cornstarch, or arrowroot, which I had cornstarch today, into your marinade. And then what you can do is thicken your sauce, your marinade sauce for stir fry. Now, one dynamic here today is I've used most of my stir fry sauce. So I wouldn't be adding as much cornstarch as I would if I had a full marinade in the jar. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Trying to calculate. So
yes, help you with your thickness.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
That's what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah. Thickness.
The sauce.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the other option you can do, if it's easier, like something like this is, you've used it to season your tofu ahead of time. You can also just make a slurry with your stir fry, your cornstarch or arrowroot, and then just add it in to the stir fry. So there's two variations. You can add the cornstarch arrowroot into your marinade, whisk it in, and then you have a nice sauce which will thicken when you add it at the end of your stir fry. Or you can stir fry your veggies in your marinade and just add a cornstarch slurry at the end. Am I being clear? I hope I'm not being too confusing.
Absolutely. It makes sense. Gave us two options.
Sense?
Yep.
Okay,
Makes sense.
all right.
Everyone with you could hands questions. If anyone has it, just raise your hand. But I think you're very clear.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, I think today, because I've got this much left, I'm going to start the stir fry. I'm going to season it with my residual sauce. And then I'm going to make a little slurry here and add that at the end. So I have a little water here, and I'm going to just make a slurry. This is what a slurry is, right? You add water, you dissolve the cornstarch or arrowroot in the water, whisk or a fork till it's dissolved. You don't want to use hot water. You want to use cold water for this, okay? Or it can tend to clump if you're with what you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here because I know we are on the clock. So I'm going to drop this to 250, and I am going to add in just a tad bit of, I'm just going to do a tad bit of oil. I'm not doing much because we have a little, the sesame oil in the marinade, but just enough to, this is one of the things I learned at KCC, which of course I'm doing it backwards, which I always do it backwards because I jump ahead. But the bottom line is the chefs, they learn at KCC is you heat the pan first till you can feel that the bottom of the pan is hot. Then you add the oil. And when it's hot, the pores of the metal open, and it makes it so that when you're cooking, things won't stick as much. At least that's the Alton Brown chemistry that I absorbed. So they would always say, wait, don't add the oil when I'm doing a demo. Don't add the oil. Okay. So I'm going to start out with onions. Today I have onions, zucchini, carrots. I have a little bit of spinach and tatsoi ends. I have fresh shiitake mushrooms that I sliced. I have snow peas. And I have some broccoli that I've already just blanched quickly, which is something I just tend to do with broccoli so that it's not like super crunchy in the stir fry. But you can do it however you want. So we've got our onions, red onions have more. Is it correct, Dr. John, Heather, Allison? Is it phytonutrients, the red? So I tend to choose red over white onions.
It adds more color.
Adds more color too. Right, there you go. And then because carrots take a little longer to cook, and I've julienned my carrots, so that means I cut them at an angle and then cut those pieces up kind of like coins, and then I cut the coins into 3 pieces. That's what julienne means. And then just for sake of time, I'm going to add the shiitake. And these are beautiful. Now, a lot of people won't buy fresh shiitake. Maybe you can't find them, but you know, you can just buy a few shiitake, fresh ones, and it really is not that expensive. It may say it's like $16 a pound, but if you buy 4 of them, it might be, you know, $1 or 2 because they're so light, and they are tasty, and they add that umami. Okay, so I've got this up to 350. I'm sauteing. I'm going to add a little bit of my marinade. I'm going to add in fresh ginger right now, which I've got. And keep stirring this. Then I'm going to add my zucchini. I'm not going to add my garlic yet because garlic can burn very easily, so I tend to add my garlic right at the end. Oh, my zucchini is sticking. Wow, interesting. A lot of moisture in there. Oh, see that? This is a really fast burning induction heater. All right, so then I'm going to add in my tofu, which still needs a little bit of browning. So at least they have a little flavor on them. And it's right between 320 and 350. This induction burner just goes off. It starts getting unruly. Okay, so I'm going to saute this, let the flavors absorb. Then I'm going to add in my broccoli. I'm going to add in the rest of my sauce. You see, I don't have much left. Should have doubled it. I'm going to double it next time. It's tasty.
That's what I usually do. I double the sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
it's so
if you're
good.
going to do it, and it lasts, you know, it's like nothing really in it can go bad. It lasts in the fridge. I would refrigerate it.
While you're just doing that really quickly, I just want to say for the people who are new to this, sometimes when we say, what does a healthy plate look like? The first thing you want to think of, am I looking down at my plate? Is there a lot of color looking back at me? And this is such a good example of, wow, am I looking down and there's a lot of beautiful color looking back. So really looks gorgeous.
You know, red bell pepper is always nice in this too, just for color. Didn't have any today. So I got snow peas. I'll add at the very end. Oh, one jump boat. I add the garlic here at this point. I've added all the tender greens with the snow peas. And then what I do at the end, I'll just add a little bit of the cornstarch slurry. And if it starts to thicken too much on the bottom, you can add a little water. I don't know if you've ever done that with cornstarch. If it starts like getting too thick, you can add a little bit of water. And anytime it starts getting too hot, you can just put a little water in the pan to just slow things down. Now, if you want to, at this point, you can put the cover on and steam it for 2 minutes. That'll just finish off your snow peas and anything that's got a little, you know, I want to say too much crunch, but you know, that you just want to finish off. And then at the very end, let's just say it's all done. I've got some green onions. And then we've got a little black sesame seeds for pretty. Okay. And that's how you make a stir fry with a marinade.
Wow, that looks amazing. I'll be right over for dinner.
Yes, please.
Oh, so yummy. Any questions, you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions at all?
They're busy drooling like
I
we
know.
are.
I hate to change it. I was going to pull up just to finish our class with the PowerPoint, but I want to leave this almost on the screen because it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you think, Heather? Do you need just to finish our class up? I'm going to just put it back up for a moment as if anyone has any
we'll
questions.
just put it back up. That way, you know, when they want more, they know how to come and get this. So when she's talking about julienne and, you know, just talking about all these things, that if you keep attending the classes, right, then some of these things get demonstrated depending upon the recipes. So keep coming back and filling up your arsenal of recipes. Yeah.
Let's give them a little teaser about what's our next one, honestly.
Ooh, yeah, our next one is healthy breakfast options. So if you're ever wondering, right, what to have for breakfast, what to eat, you know, we don't want to skip breakfast. We're going to do all about oats, and we got some great oat type recipes that Chef will be sharing with us. So that's going to be October 24th. So it's always on the 4th Monday of the month from 5 to 6 p.m. You will need to register separately for each class. So make sure to call 432-2260 to reserve your spot in that class. And we look forward to seeing you then. Did I miss anything, Allison?
That's perfect. And then I'll just kind of forward on, but I'll add it in the chat. And then just here we go. And then 60. And then we also, if there's great classes, if you want, you can call that same number to find out about some of these other classes as well.
Yeah, so we have other classes you can check out. They're all offered virtually, so hopefully really accessible to everybody. We offer them every month. You can get the current flyer for all of our classes and programs by calling that 432-2260. Several of our classes can also be booked online on kp.org under the appointments tab. There's an option for nutrition classes. You can also reserve time to speak with a wellness coach. So if you're wanting some assistance in, you know, putting some of these things into practice, we got the knowledge and now it comes time to, you know, put it into our day-to-day life, then you can work with a coach that will help increase accountability and support and goal setting. So thank you everyone so much for coming today. I hope you were inspired, and thank you to Chef Alyssa for her amazing, beautiful food and her cooking skills and sharing her knowledge with us. And thank you, Allison, for being another hostess with the mostest and your beautiful avocado background.
I had to share this as our last shot. It is so beautiful. Wonderful food. Thank you so much, Chef Alyssa. Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you guys feel inspired. I hope you're all feeling ready to get a little more plant-based, and we are here to help support you to get to a healthy plate. So thank you for joining us.